Hello, Star Wars fans. Hey, you know, there are just 72 days until Christmas 2021. And we've got some toys to talk about today. And before we get started with that, for all of our channel members, we are having our monthly giveaways this afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So just for your time zone, 4 p.m. Eastern, we'll be doing our members only Zoom meeting. And we'll be giving away our vintage collection. We've got Hondo Anaka there. We'll be giving him away, as well as our Black Series Jackson. So for members only, if you guys are members of the channel, if you're not, we have 3 levels of membership. The first level is just $2 a month, and those make you eligible for the vintage collection giveaway. The second level is $5 a month, and that makes you eligible for the vintage collection as well as the Black Series giveaways. And then we have a $10 a month level that makes you eligible for both of those, as well as we have some customs, or we have some premier items that we'll be ordering to give away to our elite members. And that will, the first one we have scheduled is in January. We have the $100, it's a Black Series scale, but it's by those, I gotta think for just a second. It's Boba Fett. It's a $100 Boba Fett figure, 6-inch scale, and we'll be giving that away in January. And then, of course, at the end of the year, we have a couple of hot toys already ordered. Boba Fett on Jabba's throne, as well as we're going to put in Fennec Shand once that's released as well. So you have to be an elite squad member for at least 6 months to be eligible for that, and that'll be the end of next year. And of course, we'll have lots of other giveaways along the way. So let's not delay any longer. I've got my friend Tim, Bossk Bounty. Hello.
Good afternoon, Santa. How are
Good
you?
to see you. Good to see you. And we were just chatting beforehand. Santa's got some automotive repairs that are quite pricey. Just got the bill. It's going to be over $7,000 to get our truck back running. So it might be time to get a new one. So we'll take a look at that. But we have some time to put that off. And of course, we've got a lot of friends here in the chat. I see Meg is there in the chat. Mark and Green Bear. We've got a lot of friends. Hey, Second Street Marvel, Trinity's here. So yeah, we're going to do some unboxing today, and I invited you to come because one of the things in your Discord, you have a lot of collectors there who try to get mint carded figures, right? And there's really, as a collector, you have basically 2 types. One that like to get the mint cards, keep those as investments, really, and sometimes even get those graded so that they have value. And then there are ones that you just want the figure, and so the card really doesn't matter. You just want the figure. But there's been an issue with collectors where you get these figures, and some of them are here in the U.S. I know you don't have the same problem in the U.K., but here in the U.S. we have these big box store exclusives, so Walmart and Target, and with those you get inconsistent shipping. So let's show you guys what I'm talking about. So in this package from Walmart, we've got 2 vintage collection figures in here. What are the chances?
What remains of them?
Right. What remains of them? And then same big box store, right? Same big box store. 1 vintage collection figure in this guy, 2 in this, 1 in that. What are the chances that these are actually in some decent shape? And so we want to do some unboxings today, and just talk about this a little bit. And I'll open this, but Tim, you guys don't have that problem in the UK, right?
No, because for years now we haven't had any shops essentially that sell it. So we've always had our specialist retailers, online retailers, who are very sort of collector friendly. So I guess they're a bit like Big Bad Toy Store and Dorkside. They kind of know what they're doing, and although they don't offer a mint service, you can pretty much guarantee that when you get something, it's mint, which is good. But we have recently got Hasbro Pulse, so I mean, you go ahead and do that one. But I got this from Pulse yesterday, so we'll see.
Oh, there we go. We can compare. And yeah, you guys have there's all the cool stuff. I actually got a figure from them over there in the UK. It's a great store for collectors. A friend of the channel. We've got friends here who are friends with them, and really
Yeah, well,
great
he's
guys.
actually got a physical store as well.
Right,
So,
right.
you know, like online, you've got Star Action figures. In Demand Toys are the two sort of big ones that everybody uses. They've been going years, you know. So
Yeah. Yeah. So here we go. We got a decent amount of packing in here with this guy, and let me pull it out here. Oh, it's actually not bad. So here we've got our carbonized armorer, right? And daggone it, even with all that, I don't know how well you can see. We've got a decent crease right here.
oh,
Right, there's a decent crease right there.
and those
It's a
cards
rink.
are so thick as well. It's hard to damage those, you know.
Well, and that's what else I was going to talk about, because there's been a good discussion with Hasbro about these cards and making them a little sturdier.
Yeah,
And this is a fairly sturdy card, as you mentioned, and for this to be creased like that, and that's wrinkled big time. I don't know how well folks can see it, but there you go. You can see right there. That's wrinkled big time, right across there. And
yeah.
so, for somebody who's looking for a vintage uh, carded figure, this fails, right? This no good.
That's yeah. This was the first figure to be put on thicker cards.
Oh,
So this is a standard figure. It's not a carbonized. But this came in with the X-wing, the blue leader X-wing. It's antomeric. This card back is it's nowhere near the carbonized, because that's almost like a piece of card with two bits of foil type paper either side, I think.
yeah.
This is proper just cardboard, but there is a noticeable, it's going to be quite difficult to ruin these. I think these are much better than they were. So
Yeah.
that's the first one, and I think the Emperor wave and all that. That's not. They're still the old card stock. So from now on, after this one, they're going to get better, I think.
Excellent. And you mentioned how this is like a piece of cardboard with two pieces on either side.
Yeah,
And
they're
you're
strange. Yeah,
you're kind of right, because if I look at the back side of this card, opposite of that crease, this is completely clean.
yeah,
Completely clean right across there. But you turn it around, this side has got that crease right there.
yeah.
So the front side of this is quite damaged. Not something, yeah. I'd still take it with the little bend. Padawannabe, this just might make the rotation as a giveaway. I already have an Armorer vintage collection. I ordered the carbonized because we do these giveaways on the channel all the time. And I thought, I'll get the carbonized. We'll compare it to the other one. And again, it's a criticism because Hasbro keeps doing these repaints, right? And we get the same figures, and this armor is really not all that different. Oh, here we go.
No,
I've got her right here. It's almost like I was prepared for the show.
yeah.
But
There isn't a lot of difference.
there is not a lot of difference in those right there. The carbonized does not have that big of a standout, and it sort of makes no sense. It's very disappointing, and I'm looking at them side by side here. Look, there's slight difference. She's got shiny pants, so
Yeah.
compare the two. Shiny pants, not shiny pants. Other than that, it's the same figure. It's-
I've got to say, I'm not a massive fan of the carbonized. I understand repaints, but I'd prefer a repaint that's actually useful. You can actually do
Right.
something with it,
Yeah.
The carbonized, I mean, that's what's in this box is the carbonized wave. So
Yeah, and Meg, thank you for the comment. It is an interesting character. Emily Swallow is a fantastic person, and I saw her on your channel, on Star Wars Meg's channel, and a great friend of Meg's. and we hope that Emily gets plenty more work in The Mandalorian. Uh,
Yeah.
I'd love to see more of the armor, but there you have it.
Yeah, I
This,
love the character. The character's great.
yeah, me too. Not
And
so big.
the figure's great as well. We just didn't need another one painted silver.
With the shiny pants, right? I
Yeah.
didn't need shiny pants armor. I really just exactly. So let's take a look here. I do have the dreaded envelope. Now this is terrible, right?
This scares me.
So I had hopes of one of the three figures being on a decent card. That those hopes are gone. Right. So I opened the box. Box didn't work out so well, and we'll open this package and we'll see what we have here. These are well. Here we go. Let's see what happens. I got two cards in here, both vintage. So actually, not too bad. So we've got our Shore Troopers right here. So Shore Trooper 1 and 2. Now let me see if I can just turn off this green screen for a second here, because that's causing some problems. Let me come in and see what I can do here, because that's making it terrible. Let's turn that off. It's still going to be a little bit different, but still you can kind of see better. This card is actually in pretty good shape. It's a little bent right there, but not creased like the armorer was. Again, I'm just kind of looking at it. We don't have any wrinkles or creases in the card. It's really clean. We got a little bit of a bend here at the corners, but as far as getting it in an envelope, could have been worse. Could have been a lot worse.
And that one's the best figure from the wave as well, because it's on a different. We've never had that card back before, so we've had that figure, but on a Rogue One card.
Yeah.
So that's the first time they've put him on a Mandalorian card and then painted him gold.
Yeah, it's again the carbonized, so they've got that kind of reflectivity to them. And this card is actually, I'm just kind of looking closely. It's in not bad shape. I am shocked. This one's not as bent as the other. You can see a little bit right there. Right?
Yeah.
Not great, but still, these two coming out of the envelope, still better than the one that came out of the box.
Crazy.
I mean, how do you reconcile them? And there are great memes on there that just show like Walmart employees just thrashing on the things. Again, they're memes; they're not actual. But it just makes you wonder how you get two figures shipped in an envelope, come out with a better card than the ones we get. So the question is, for collectors and for folks that are really wanting to get a mint card, right? When they come from big box stores here in the U.S., what can you do about it? Is there anything?
Well, I mean, just moan if it comes. Don't accept it. Send it back if it's broke. It's like anything. If it's damaged, then you've got the right to send it back, get a refund or a replacement. And I think, what wave was it? It was the Tuscan Raiders. It's that Walmart the 50th anniversary ones.
Mm-hmm.
90% of those were coming damaged, and I guess if everyone sends them back, then they've got to learn, haven't they? That's the way they learn, I guess.
Well, and I know that Hasbro hears about it, right? So I've attended enough of their like live streams and forums to see where they say, we hear you guys, we're trying to make it better. People have talked about, could we standardize the shipping requirements from these big box stores? They get these exclusives, Target, Walmart, those are the most notorious, but even Amazon, they get these exclusives and they ship them to us, in
a mailer. Yeah.
It's crazy, right? How can we? Meg's giving me a hard time. Well, look here, I got to address something. Meg loves giving me a hard time. Look, Meg, just for you today on the stream, I've got some green tea right there. Some green tea. No caffeinated water today. None of the Mio energy. I've got green tea. So there we go. No, so yeah, let Hasbro know. Like, look, we're getting these figures shipped to us in mailers, right? Like not even boxed. And when we do get it boxed, like this guy here was, I've got like 2 sheets of this, this stuff wrapped around that thing, but the card was already damaged before they put it in the box. So, you know, there's got to be something.
They've got to sort their relationship out with these partners. You know, if they're the companies they're choosing to use, and they probably don't really have a lot of choice. You know, they're the 2 big ones, aren't they? And if they want their products in their stores, then they've got to sort of do these exclusives with them every now and then, I would imagine.
Well, and you mentioned something here that's worth bringing up too, because you said, if they want these in their stores, good luck. Good luck, right?
Yeah.
I've gone to Walmarts all around me. I live in Central Ohio. I've gone up into rural areas, into Walmarts where we've got horse and buggies parked in the in a barn outside, literally. In no figures there. I've gone to the big, well, for us, big city, Columbus, Ohio. It's the capital of Ohio. It's got over 1 million people there. I've gone there. They're gone, right? There's not a single vintage collection figure to be had. They just don't exist. And you're stuck to buying them online. And then
That previous carbonized wave, the wave before that one, the one with the Death Trooper and Mando and whatever, they were in stores, weren't they? Did you not see those? Because from what I saw, they were like pegwar, especially the Death Trooper. You can still buy cases of the Death Trooper over here on Star Action Figures. You can buy a whole case of 8 of them. They can't give them away, you know.
No, not at all. and
Right.
and they're not in any of the Target stores. They're not in any of the WalMarts. I've gone in all of them around me, and in our local one, I live in a rural community. We got lots of farms around us and things. Our local Walmart, I go in every week and I go down the aisle. There's 2 Black Series figures in there that are regularly there. And I bought them out one week just because there were only 2, and I said, okay, I'll buy both. Come in the next week and they got the same 2 again. I'm like, okay. And that's it. We got Grief Karga.
Yeah, peg warmer Grief Karga. Yeah.
Yeah, we got Grief Karga, a Black Series figure, so he's back again, and then we've got General Calrissian. These 2 show up over and over at my Walmart. That's it. And then I did buy out Quill, so I've got a Black Series Quill.
Yeah.
And he hasn't shown up again. Just those 2. Not a vintage collection. Now, Target. So again, I went to a Target somewhat nearby, and you can get some of these on the hook.
Yeah, we haven't got those yet over here. We don't have those yet.
And this is a great card back, by the way. And
Yeah.
I saw you review it as well. This is just a great card back. In whatever you think of we like to call them Skittles Troopers here because of Meg.
Yeah.
And her calling people spicy Skittles. So I've got 3 of these. There's 6 of them total, but I've got 3 of these. And they were just hanging on the hook, and then I didn't clear them out. There were still some on the hook, so that's they're possible.
Have you not seen these ones yet? Then
No.
right, because again, I've seen pictures on Instagram and what have you of that wave with Lando, the IG-11.
Oh, I want that IG-11 so bad.
Yeah.
I saw your review of it. Oh my goodness.
Oh, it just blows my mind. This thing, it's incredible.
It's amazing.
But the Lando is peg warming. Well, I don't like to say peg warming because it's only been out a couple of weeks. Give people a chance to buy the thing. But if they pack these 3 in the assortment, whereas you only got 2 IGs, 2 Emperors, and 1 Tebow. So all the others are gone, and they're just leaving the Landos. But they're leaving more Landos than that extra one.
Yeah.
So there's like 5, 6, 7, 8 Landos swinging on the peg, and this figure is amazing. Like we've been after a new Lando for so long.
You posted that review. What was it, yesterday?
Yeah, last night. Yeah.
And I watched it this morning, and Billy D. Williams has to be a happy guy because that
Yeah,
is a fantastic sculpt of him.
yeah,
It's absolutely amazing. They did such a great job, and as you pointed out, from all sides, like you can turn that all the way, and that's Billy D, Billy D, Billy D all day.
yeah.
What an amazing figure! The soft goods cloak on it, great. The IG-11, great. So I mean, Hasbro's putting out some really good products for us, but obtaining them and getting them on good cards is sort of the issue that we have, at least here,
Yeah,
because
I've got a lot of friends in the States from doing my YouTube channel and what have you, and I feel for them, because this Hasbro's an American company. This is, you should get them first and foremost in the best condition possible. But we seem to be able to get them,
yeah,
just in perfect condition. Like there's no issues. But then, we don't have them swinging on pegs. There's a few stores around the UK that are getting them now, but
yeah,
over the last few years, it's all been online.
yeah. So I just to kind of go back again, like all you can do is try your best to get them. I think your advice is good. You get a card if you're trying to get a mint card, and you get this guy instead, right? And it's damaged. Uh, you, really, your only option is to send it back and say
Mm.
card, damaged. Maybe they send you a new one. Good luck.
They'll soon get fed up with the returns and wonder why so many people are returning them.
And we have to let Hasbro know
But what we
that.
don't want is them to go back to how they were and just ignore the line completely. Because I and among I and a number of other people have been campaigning for the vintage collection to be at least treated on an even keel with the Black Series, and that includes getting them out in stores. And that's why I'm loving recently seeing a lot of that particular wave hitting a lot of stores in the States. Obviously, it's a very big country, and I would imagine the logistics of it trying to distribute it evenly over that huge country is a difficult thing. I'm not pretending it's not, but it's good seeing them in the stores at last, and lots of them. That's what we want.
Yeah.
But of course, you want them in good condition. That's part of it.
So you bring up another thing. I do want to bring up. There's an outlet here in the States called Ollie's,
Yeah,
and
I've been to Ollie's. Yeah,
and it's not everywhere, but they buy up inventories from these other stores, and then they mark them down really really cheap. So they have a motto called "Good stuff cheap," and that's on all their commercials. And they buy huge lots of things and then put them out in the stores. And there are pictures where you can see entire lines of vintage collection Black Series figures for like $4, right? Like $4 and $5. And so I made a journey around to a bunch of the Ollies around us. There's about 5 of them. I went to 4 of them, and with all of those, not a vintage collection figure to be had in any of them. Right? So I don't know if the problem is that here in where I live, we've got collectors, consuming them and putting them back out on eBay or whatever. But it's stark out there, right? So I did get this guy right. Mark said scalpers cleaned them out, right? That's probably the case. I did get this guy, right? So
yeah,
I got this for a friend of mine. I was going to Ollie's and looking for them. I found one box of this and this TIE fighter, $10. Not bad, right? Not bad for a TIE fighter. You get the pilot there with it. Not bad, but only one. And again, I got it for a friend of mine. Picked it up for him, and we'll ship that off to him when we get a chance. But this is a nice figure. I mean, it's a nice vehicle, right?
yeah.
Not bad at all. It's nice. Again, from Han Solo, from the Solo movie, so it's a bit older, but
Yeah.
still not bad.
when I went to Ollie's when I was in the States over end of 2019, beginning of 2020, I took the family out to Florida, and we went to Ollie's, and they had all of the solo 2-packs, things like that, $3.99. But it's like anything, like if people post it on Instagram or any type of social media, I'm in Ollie's, and they've got all of the wave and they've got 100 Rogue One stormtroopers. Collectors are like vultures; they'll be there and they'll be cleaning them out,
Right.
or scalpers or whatever.
Right,
So
right.
it's you want to help people out by saying this is there, go, but then the minute it's out, that's it. People are there cleaning it out, because I did see a picture of one store having maybe 10, 15 Rogue One stormtroopers, and you can't get those for love nor money. So
It's the same, and it's exactly the same, and it's frustrating for me because all these ollies, for me, it's an hour drive in any direction to get to one. Right?
Everywhere's an hour's drive for you, isn't it?
It
Wherever
is.
you want to go, it's an hour's drive.
It's pretty true. I mean, our local Walmart is 25 minutes away. That's the closest I got. But and they don't order anything. Or at least they're never in the store. My best hope is to go to Walmart where the horse and buggies are parked. Right. So at least I know they're out in the middle of nowhere. And the Amish, they don't really care about Star Wars figures. They're not out there buying them up. but it's tough when they don't stock them, and you have to order from Walmart, and you get these bin up cards. So look, I know that Hasbro knows. I know they're hearing it, and one of the suggestions I heard the last time was that they make a standard, like maybe they put these figures. Oh, let me reach down. Maybe they put them in a plastic case, and then you ship the plastic case with the card in it, right?
Yeah, they're not going to do that though, are they? Because they're trying to reduce plastics. So
Right, and it's going to.
they used to do that. They used to do that with the vintage original trilogy collection. I might have one actually. No, I've put it away. The vintage original trilogy collection in 2004 and the saga collection in 2007. They used to ship them in, I don't know what you call them, clamshells.
Yeah, clamshells.
And it protected it as mint,
Right.
But now, they wouldn't do that now because they're trying to remove plastic. So that's the problem. But they could put them in like a cardboard box, like the. Oh, it's music.
That's Star Wars Meg. She has a channel called Meg's Cantina, and she let me take this Hoth. I've got the Star Wars Hoth soundtrack, and I have that as background music. I forgot to turn it on, so there it is. There you go. Meg is a great friend. She's awesome Star Wars content creator. And,
yeah, I love watching her videos. Yeah.
I love her to death.
I
She's
don't.
the best.
Well, I have to pick it. I must admit, I do pick and choose because I don't want certain things spoiled. I want to know little tidbits.
Well,
but
she's
I don't
got
want certain
one.
Things spoiled,
Like yesterday, you can't watch that one. You can't.
No, I kind of like to be surprised with some things, But yeah, I remember the George Lucas Stormtrooper and the rocket firing Boba Fett in the vintage collection. They came in like cardboard boxes as well as a clamshell. So maybe the answer is to slide them into a sturdy cardboard sort of envelope before it goes into a box.
Right. Right. If you're trying to avoid the plastic, maybe you have, like you said, a sleeve or something, like a cardboard sleeve you could slide it into and then ship it in that sleeve. And at least then it has a hope, right? It's got a chance of getting there. And again, I think Walmart did a great job on, this box had two things of the plastic in it. Like the package was well.
Yeah.
And
that looks like it was damaged before it went in,
Exactly. And I don't know what, how they get away from that, or if Walmart says, hey, that's how we got it. Or you get some teenager that really doesn't care listening to their music on the headphones and just throwing stuff around in the warehouse, and it
Yeah.
gets put in a box and sent off to you, right? I mean, it's just, how do they deal with that, right? It's tough.
Well,
One other thing I got at Ollie's, just to point out like the kind of stuff you can get at these stores, is I got this Han Solo
a comic.
graphic novel, right?
Oh,
So-
right. It's a bunch. Yeah, so it's a load of the series of the comics put together in one thing,
Exactly.
isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly. So this was great. Then $3.
Yeah.
Right? $3. So look, there are you can go into some stores and you can get some nice Star Wars collectible like stuff just as a fan, right? Pick them up, but again, sort of the topic of the day is how do you get these figures if you're a collector, and then so the other half of that. Let's say that we've got a big event coming up, right? Hasbro has PulseCon coming up next week, right? Next weekend, a week, about the 23rd and 24th, right? If you want figures, you've kind of got to be sitting there ready to pull the trigger.
Yeah. You're pretty. Yeah. Before the pre-order sells out. Yeah.
Because they're going quick. But what's a regular, just a fan to do? Like, and I've been mentioning this to my channel members. There's shipping delays on all kinds of things, right? The shipping containers are sitting out in the ports. They can't get them unloaded. We got a shortage of drivers to distribute the stuff. We've got a shortage of workers at the docks to get the containers off the ships, and they're just piling up. And if you're wanting to get some figures in time for the holidays, you got to get them sooner than later. And what's a collector to do? How are you to get them without paying 3 or 4 times the face value for them?
Yeah. Well, this wave here, a lot of the shipping boxes that they come in were found with flight labels on them.
Oh,
So the retailers have been flying them in instead of shipping them in because they were, you've got that massive queue of ships at various ports. So to get these in, they flew them in. I don't know whether that costs more or not. I don't, probably does,
Well,
I
it
guess.
does,
Otherwise they would do
yeah.
it all the time.
Yeah.
So they've done that with that wave. It's a bit weird, isn't it? It's a bit funny how they do it, but
it's tough. And hey, Luz Ramirez, just subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much, Luz. Yeah, it's the shipping costs are up. The reports here about 30% over last year. And the retailers like these figures here that I got off the peg at Target, they were $16. So, I think they were around 13, but that extra shipping cost gets put on. By the time it gets to the store, you get that extra few dollars added on. So, I mean, it's not that you can't find them, but look, if you're going to Ollie's, you're going to Target, you're going to Walmart, you've got to be there the day they unbox, or the vultures come in and they're gone.
yeah. And for exclusives that you order online, they've just got to be sensible about it. Like I think it's the Bad Batch 4-pack that you could get on Amazon.
Yeah.
So they said on their live stream, because it sold out in seconds, they said on their live stream that they made normal quantities of those, and they didn't know the demand or whatever because they thought normal quantities would be enough. But what the problem was is they allowed people on Amazon to order 30 each.
Right.
So the scalpers just go in and order 30 when they're only supposed to be ordering 1, maybe 2, if you want 1 carded and 1, to open like I would.
Yeah.
So you've allowed people to buy 30. They're going to buy 30, and then, sure enough, half an hour later, they're on eBay for 3 times the price.
That's exactly right.
There wouldn't have been a shortage if you had allowed people to just buy 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So they just need to sort of say, if you're going to do this exclusive Amazon, we're prepared to work with you. It's great relationship, but limit them to how many you can buy. And that's what our retailers are very, very good at. They know how many they're getting, They know how many customers want them, and they're very good at just saying, strictly one per customer. And one of the retailers, Star Action Figures, is also very good at knowing if someone's ordering one and then doing a separate order and then a separate order,
Yeah.
And they will just outright cancel them because they want people to be fair to other collectors. So again, it's another thing where it's a lot better over here for that sort of thing.
Well, let's address to Pulse, right? Hasbro has its own fulfillment line through Pulse.
Yeah.
And I think the box you have there, you got through Pulse, right?
Yeah.
And how did that figure come out? Have you opened it yet?
Yeah, I've opened them, and basically there was a tiny bit of bubble, air pockets in them. But usually when I order figures from Pulse, maybe one or two, because I like to support the smaller retailers that have been there for years. So, but the carbonized wave, the smaller retailers for some reason haven't got them yet. But Pulse just put them in like that. So all together, but every single one is absolutely fine.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
I was a bit worried that they were just stacked on top of each other like that. But all of them are fine. No dents, no creases, no nothing. So I'm really quite happy with those.
That's great.
And to be honest, I've got to be honest. The experience that I've had with Pulse since it's been here has been a positive one. But as I say, I don't order a lot through them because I like to support in-demand toys and Star Action Figures first.
Right.
But when I knew that they'd got those in stock, they had that 25% off sale for anything that's in stock the other night. So I just thought, I'll just get those using that. So I ended up getting them for £15 each instead of £20 each.
Well, I'll bring up too that Pulse has come a long way. A year ago now, or actually like November, December, when they were releasing things after PulseCon last year, and they were doing regular releases, you could be lined up on the site when they released, and they'd be sold out within like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Right? You could not get a figure off of Pulse, and the site was very broken. I will say that has improved immensely. So our friends at Hasbro, they're doing much better. Like that Pulse site is getting better. The ordering is better. You're able to get your order in now, and the cases of them being canceled outright are way diminished. Right? Like for the most part, if you get your order in, if you're there, like when they release, you've got a decent amount of time to get logged in, to get your order, and have it fulfilled. Now, I got a notice from Pulse today, from Hasbro today, that the Black Series George Lucas Stormtrooper is being delayed. We're not going to get it till late May next year. But look, they didn't cancel it. So, at least you go back to what's a collector to do, right? What's a collector to do? You can't get them in the stores. Anybody posts and says, hey, they're at this store, they're gone. What are you to do? Pulse is becoming a viable option for folks. And it worked. I mean, the site is way improved. So let's just give credit where credit's due, right? All the complaining you can as a collector, you can do to Pulse or to Hasbro about the cards being damaged, about the shipping, about these exclusives. When they get something right, we should acknowledge it.
Yeah, and also a lot of the criticism that they get as well is that, how come I've ordered something through Pulse and as a pre-order, the word pre-order, and they're in stores, but my pre-order hasn't been sent out. And I think what people don't realise is that the only thing that links Hasbro Pulse with Hasbro is the name. They're almost like a separate company. This is how I believe it to work, And I don't think they prioritise their own retail arm over the big box toys because they're their bread and butter. Maybe they do service those first.
Yeah, I've got the same problem with that IG-11, right? I ordered. I desperately want it. I saw you do the review. I'm like, hey, where's mine? And I'm logging in. And I'm looking. Hey,
Well, we haven't got them over here. I've got to thank Gary Moore. who's actually in the chat for, I could see people finding them, and I said to Gary, I said, look, mate, if you happen to find these, get me an extra set and I'll pay for the delivery. And the price of them over there with the exchange rate and then postage, it came to $80 for me for 4 figures, which is actually cheaper than I can get them over here.
That's 20 each, yeah.
So I got them earlier than I can get them over here, and cheaper. So it's win-win. The only thing I've just need to thank Gary for is that he's taken his time out to bother to put them in a box and go to the post office and stuff for me. So I do appreciate it.
Well, look, I've got friends over in the UK, yourself included, who have done me huge favors. And I also want to thank, like, all the cool stuff. Like, I mention them frequently because they've helped me out, right? And certainly you have as well. And and without going too deep into all that, but sometimes it's helpful, be it somebody who's in the U.S. who has connections to some people in the UK, that you can get to a store. You've got it available. Even with the shipping costs, at least you can get it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've shipped out some of those Black Series Clone Wars figures to somebody that was in Canada, because I think they were a Walmart exclusive, and they haven't got Walmarts there, and it works differently, and they just it was something they just couldn't guarantee that they'd get them, basically. So they just said, I'll send you the money. Would you mind doing it? Now I can't do it for everyone, because otherwise I'd be ending up permanently, I'll be my own distributor or whatever. So I can't do it for everyone, but there's been a few people that I've done it for, and I don't mind, a few, and they've done me favors in it as well.
Yeah, and you just have friends who are able to do these things, and for collectors, and I've seen where people have gotten in trouble for that as well, especially when they. Let's say the big example that happened recently was people getting them from the Philippines and getting them early, having them shipped to the UK, and then posting them up, right?
Yeah.
And they cut that supply chain off in a hurry, right?
Yeah, and I think we've Star Action Figures here used to deliver abroad, post abroad, and I think there was something that stopped that for a little while, but I think places like Dorkside Toys, Big Bad Toy Store would probably not be too happy with a UK retailer getting the stuff first and people ordering it prepared to pay the extra shipping,
right?
Because they know they're going to get it earlier, I guess.
Or get it at all.
Yeah, because those Walmart exclusive 50th anniversaries just weren't a problem for us. I can still buy those right now. I can buy a Death Star droid, a Luke Endor, and a Tusken Raider in mint condition by the case,
Oh my!
Whereas the people in the States are still they're just damaged, or So.
Yeah, and Mark posted Dorkside is for folks here in the States. Dorkside Toys is a reliable retailer. They don't always get them first, but in this case, like with this IG-11, this new wave IG-11, they have them in stock right now. You can order them, and they're shipping right now. I haven't.
Entertainment Earth was sending them out as well, I believe.
Yeah, I haven't changed my order over to them yet. I'm trying to be patient because it's just about ordering and tracking all that stuff. So I'm holding off, but it's still one of those things. I regularly go out to Dorkside if I'm having trouble, and sometimes you can wait, and they'll get something in say later down the line, right? And they're not marked up. They do a great job, and when they ship them right. They're in good condition. I can't say enough good things about them, and other retailers like you mentioned. Entertainment Earth, right?
They have like a mint guarantee or something. So like if it doesn't show up mint, you can send it back, and they'll sort you out.
Right. Let me bring this on. We've got these retro collection cards that were just made available. They look great, and again, you were giving us a really good review of these, as well as these cards are a good hint. And this is interesting. We were chatting about it before the show. This is on a vintage collection. Like you can see the branding, right? The branding says vintage collection, but
Yeah.
this is a retro collection.
Yeah.
And so we have the Imperial Death Trooper. There's a number of them. Let me bring this up. The Imperial Death Trooper, Ahsoka Tano, again with the vintage collection and retro collection on the promo. And let's go through them here real quick. Mandalorian and Beskar. We've got our Armorer again, and which we already have. There's Bo-Katan and Boba Fett with the that Mandalorian season 2 outfit, right? The repaint. Really good indicators of what we might be getting soon in the vintage collection. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. If it follows suit from other things that they've done, like Queel and IG-11, we saw those card backs before we saw the vintage collection card backs, and they're exactly the same. So yeah, I can see the Bo-Katan. We know we're getting a Bo-Katan in the next wave, so that will probably be the card back that they use, and then the Ahsoka Tano and that Boba Fett, you can almost guarantee that the figure just fell on the floor. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah, you can almost guarantee that those are going to be coming to the vintage collection. I do think that vintage collection thing there is probably somebody forgot to take that layer off on the Photoshop. I would imagine, because
Yeah.
they've never done that before. It's a completely different line.
Right.
So,
Well, and so that's what I want to bring up to anybody who's watching this, who's not into understanding what retro and vintage, all these different retro collection figures are the same size, they're the same scale as the vintage collections. All right, they're the 3 3/4 inch scale. There's a difference though. Help folks understand the difference between retro and vintage collection. If you were to say get this Boba Fett as a retro, and then they release it with the same card, and this is what you were talking about, like
yeah,
the vintage collection often have the exact same card.
yeah.
It just won't have that retro collection label on it,
Sticker
right?
on it, or any of the distressed marks around the edge. Yeah.
Right. So what's the difference in the actual figure?
So the figures, the retro collection, are based on the vintage Kenner figures. So they're 5 points of articulation, quite basic sculpts. They're made to look like they were. If the Mandalorian was around 40 years ago, that's what the figures would have looked like when Kenner made them, basically. Vintage collection is, yeah, it does get a bit confused. I can see where the confusion arises. Vintage collection is basically, this is how I think it is. It's like if Kenner was still going today, this is how the figures would have progressed. It's just the fact is that they're still putting them on the vintage style cards. So they're super articulated figures, highly detailed, highly painted, but placed on a vintage style card. So you're getting that nostalgic feel because they're on the same card backs that we grew up with, but they are modern, super articulated figures. These ones here are based on, figures that were made 40 years ago. Very, very simple figures, but they look great.
Oh yeah, and just for an example, as Tim's mentioning, so we've got the retro collection armor right there, showing her. If we were to compare her, let me hide that on stream for a little bit, make this bigger, and let's make that even bigger. Let's do this, right? So if I were to bring this figure up, and let's see if we can get it to focus. If my camera will refocus, it's not gonna. Nope, it says no. The articulation on this is tremendous. Like the amount of posability in these figures, where they can, the joints rotate. You've got articulation, several points all the way down, like the leg, as well as the shoulder, elbow, wrist. Right, you get rotation as well as back and forth. All of it is just very, very highly articulated, very posable as far as doing toy photography, setting up scenes, trying to recreate scenes from the show. These figures are fantastic, and as you pointed out, even with that Billy D. Williams, right? The facial sculpt on that is spot on. Like it looks like Billy D. Like
Yeah.
there's no question. And
Yeah,
when
it's amazing.
you get the retro collection figure, it's much more basic. You can see you get a hip. There's nothing there at the knee at all, or the
No.
ankle. Right?
No elbows, just literally shoulders, hips, and the head. Those 5 points. Yeah.
Right. So these figures look great, by the way. Right. Like these retro figures that we showed, they look great. I love this Boba Fett. Look at that.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. The paint on it is great. The style is great, but it does have minimal articulation. For those of us that grew up with the Hasbro Kenner toys, right? They come with that Kenner label on them, right? That not to be confused, right? It says Kenner.
Yeah.
These are Hasbro figures. Kenner owned, right? Like Hasbro owns that brand. So they're still with the Kenner logo, like you would have gotten back in the 70s, 80s. But these are much more articulated, as you said, like if it's a new, as if they were progressing with technology along the way. So that's your vintage collection. The reason they're called vintage is because they're that scale, right? The same scale as these retro.
Yeah,
Retro,
and because they use the vintage card, like the packaging is
right.
vintage style. Yeah.
So it's important, and it does get confusing for brand new collectors. They've not gone into this, or maybe you're looking to get some figures for your kids, right? For the kiddos. Look, these are going to be minimally articulated. They're going to be in that style that you would have gotten back in the day. As you said, 5 points of articulation: shoulders, hips, head. That's it. They're great toys, and they're just not that level of detail. And the amount of detail you get in these new vintage collection figures. Look again, Hasbro's killing it. They're absolutely killing it. They're great. But good luck finding them sometimes, and that's what we're talking about.
That retro collection was quite easy to find. That I think everyone that I know managed to pre-order those. I think the retro collection, they do like mass produce it, because as you say, they are toy. That, you know, a lot of people don't think that these figures are toys anymore. You know, they're
right
for collectors, photographers. You know, putting on display, recreating scenes, dioramas, that kind of stuff. My son does play with them, but it would be a lot easier for a kid just to play with a 5, you know, because if you mess around with this too much, it's going to become loose and it'll break and things like that. So
right.
I think those figures there, the retro collection, you know, they're for the adults, because the adults like that vintage Kenner style, but also kids would, you know, if they're old enough to see the Mandalorian and they enjoyed it,
right,
they would probably want those figures as well.
And they're going to be easier to find.
Yeah.
To your point, like the retro collection figures are just easier to get hold of. And as I mentioned here, like these are on the peg at Walmart or at Target. I mean, these are on the peg at Target. Retro, I can go in and buy them, you know, straight off and you know what you're getting when you buy it. You don't have to worry about what are they shipping it in. Is it going to be bent? Is it, you know, if you want to keep it pristine on a card as an investment, or, you know, your collection, you could do that because you can get them. But the vintage collection figures, as I mentioned, I am yet to find them on the peg anywhere. Ollie's, Target, Walmart, you name it. They're not there at all. Not one anywhere. And that's just in my area. I know there are folks in different places who have gone in and like found that entire line, like an entire wave, hanging on the hook. Good for them. Oh, not good for me.
But that's how it is in the UK. Well, until recently, you know, we've got Smiths, which is a bit like Toys R Us, which is, there's a few of them around in the country. We've always had Forbidden Planet, which is like a specialized comic shop,
Yeah.
really, which does action figures. There's probably only maybe 10 or 15 Forbidden Planets across the country. So for me if I wanted to go to a Smith's or a Forbidden Planet, I'm looking at a 45-minute drive. So I've always, except when Toys R Us went, since then I've been ordering everything online, and that's just the way it is, you know.
Yeah, I forgot to put us with our respective people confused this whole time, thinking that Tim was Star Wars Santa.
I needed to grow a beard, yeah. Mind you, if I
Oh.
did grow mine, it would look like yours after a while. It'd take me years, but it would be that color, you know.
It's great. So here at the end, I want to talk a little bit about PulseCon coming on next week. In my brain, I keep wanting to call it HasbroCon, but it's PulseCon. What are you hoping for? What do we kind of already know, and what would just make it a really big event for you?
Well, we don't really know too much apart from the stuff that we've seen already. That the Emperor throne room set will be available to order. I managed to get it off a French website, so I've already got that. Here he is. Look, the Emperor.
There he is,
with his throne.
and
There's his throne.
I saw Bossk reclining on the throne earlier.
Yeah, he is chilling. He's chilling on there. And then we've got the Black Series set with the Cantina aliens and Obi-Wan Kenobi, I think it is. So we know those are coming, but I think apart from that, I don't really know what's going to be announced. It's going to be...
We know the HasLab project.
Yeah, the Rancor project will start, won't it? Yeah.
Yeah, Patrick kind of let that slip, and then they had to own up to it, right?
Yeah.
So I can't
Yeah.
wait for that announcement, just because I'm curious to know if if Patrick will kind of lean into it, right? Like,
Yeah, we'll definitely see what it looks like. You'll definitely see what you're going to be backing. Yeah.
right, and that's a Black Series figure. So just for anybody that doesn't know, that they let that slip earlier, that the HasLab project, which is sort of a crowdfunding project, they look for a certain number of backers. It's open for a certain period of time, and then when it's closed, it's closed. They're gone. So examples of other HasLab projects were Jabba's sail barge, which is really yeah, there it is, right behind Tim there. You can see it. That thing in resale value right now is huge, right? Way more than it was when it was funded last year, and that's a vintage collection scale, by the way.
Yeah.
For anybody asking, so it's a 3 3/4 inch scale, meaning the figures are in scale to the model. The last year, the HasLab project was the Razor Crest. So Din Djarin's spaceship that got blown to bits. But anyway, so did the sail barge. By the way, right? The sail barge got blown to bits too. So
Yeah.
let's be real. But that funded last year. And what happens with these HasLab projects is, as more people buy in, they release extra kind of add-ons. So this year, we already know that the HasLab project is going to be a Black Series scale. So as you can see, that sail barge is not a small vessel, right? It's a major piece of furniture. To do a Black Series vessel like the sail barge or the Razor Crest would be huge, right? It would just take up way too much space. They're going to be doing Gary. Spoiler: the Rancor also dies. Yeah, so, there's a little bit of a theme with these HasLab projects, Star Wars anyway.
But don't let's not make any mistake about it. The Rancor it will have to be big. It will be huge because it's got to hold a Gamorrean guard, which is I've got one of those Black Series figures, huge thing, in its hand.
Right, or Luke Skywalker, right? Like a 6-inch tall figure of Luke Skywalker.
So if its hands are this, big enough for that figure, it's going to be a big thing. I mean,
It's
even
gonna,
even the 3 3/4 inch one is big. So
yeah, it's going to be a major thing. Like, the questions become about what will the add-ons be. You got to
yeah,
think the trainer, right?
yeah,
That guy's got to come with it as an
yeah,
add-on,
the Rancor Keeper, yeah,
right? You're going to have to get him as an add-on for sure.
yeah.
And then what other add-ons would there be?
Well, I think a lot of people would want the Dancer that also gets eaten down there, but I'm not too sure if they'd be up for producing her these days. I don't. Yeah, it might be a bit
Yeah,
too skimpy of an outfit. I don't know, but you know, I've got her in 3 3/4 inch, but Ula, her name is.
yeah.
Um, some people have said maybe the gate that comes down and crashes on his head. You know that, but again, that would be a meaty piece of plastic, wouldn't it? So,
Yeah.
I mean, if they really want to go niche, they could do. Where is he? Here he is. Just drop the Rancor Keeper.
Oh,
So the Rancor Keeper, when he cries, when the Rancor dies, there's a guy that kind of consoles him, and that's this guy called Jiren. And this in 3 3/4 is one of the best figures you can buy. It's brilliant, and I would imagine some Black Series collectors would want him. You know.
oh, sure.
So
Like,
yeah, I don't know.
Salacious
I don't
Crow.
know.
Yeah, I mean, some of the no-brainers are like the bones, right? Like,
Yeah.
that Luke sticks in his jaw there, right? You would think that
I'd
that's
hope that
got
would
to
come
be.
with it. You know.
You would think, right? And like,
Mm.
so we know that HasLab project's going to get announced. Entry price for that? I mean, a lot of these HasLab projects are like around $500
I
or
can't
more,
see it being any cheaper than $300
right?
to
Right.
start. You know, the initial thing. I can't see it. You know, it seems a lot for a Rancor, but it's going to be massive. So
Right, and as we mentioned, those HasLab projects are limited release. Like, you got this window of time to get them, and if they sell 10,000 of them or 15,000, however many, when they're done,
mm.
and that's it. And then you're getting them off of aftermarket, and we know how the collectors have been. And just for example, that sail barge. What's a sail barge go for these days?
Over 2,000.
Right. Over 2,000, right? So you can expect like these Razor Crests, right? I ordered 3 of them, right? Which was a chunk of money.
That's one less than me. I'm joking. Yeah, but those, like, that annoyed me a little bit because that was open for a whole month,
Right.
and then it closed, and then you still had people saying I missed it, and actually buying it off eBay for £900 in the UK.
Right.
Like, what are you doing? Like, how did you not know this thing was happening? I don't get it. 30,000 of them sold. So who is it that's buying a pre-order for something that's not even out yet for 3 times what it cost?
Well, let's look. Yeah, so just like I got 3 of them, right? So what you do is you get somebody who ordered multiple, 3, 4, 5, 10, however many, right? And they're doing it as an investment, and they're listing their pre-order, right?
Yeah.
So I got confirmation of the 3 that I packed, right? And so if I wanted to, and I have not, but if I wanted to, I could take my pre-order, list it as an order, like on eBay, and put whatever price I want to on it, right? And I'm hoping to make enough on the 2 that I sell to keep the one to keep one for myself, right? To kind of bring the price down to make it something I can keep in my collection. But people have already listed them as a pre-order, and they haven't even shipped. I know you've mentioned a couple times. I think Yak Face has mentioned a few times that some of them are shipping to the U.S.
Yeah.
And I've yet to get notice that mine's on its way. But
No, well, they've received two separate shipments. I think they'll be keeping them in the warehouse because I think people will go absolutely mad if some people are sent theirs and others aren't.
Right.
So I think maybe they'll keep them until they're all there to send them out, so everyone gets them at the same time. That's what I hope happens anyway. I mean, who knows what's going to happen in the UK with those?
Well, like we mentioned earlier, with the supply chain issues, it's good that they're kind of filling that chain, right? They're kind of going ahead and shipping in smaller quantities as they get volumes of them build up, right? So they get however many cases of them, they ship those off, and then when they get again, they ship the next ones. So, hey, there's Meg. Thanks for being here. Always appreciate your support. We'll see you. Look forward to your next video. So it's good that they are filling the chain, and I suspect, as you said, that they'll be amassing them. However many were bought here in the U.S., say 20,000 or 18,000, however many. And once those are there, they'll start distributing them out. But but people are already listing their pre-order for sale for somebody to buy for. You said 900 pounds, right?
They don't even know what condition it's going to arrive in.
$1,200, right there to get one, and right, and the person doesn't even have it yet to fulfill it, and we're already told that it was supposed to initially ship in November of this year. Hasbro has already said, oh, guys, you're going to have to wait a little bit. Like January is a more realistic date.
Yeah.
And so, people bought the resale on those. When it's done, it's done. And so the same thing with these Rancors. These are Black Series Rancors. They're going to be massive. They're going to be huge. They're going to be $400, $500. But if you want one for $400 or $500, you're going to have to get on the funding now. Or you're going to pay $800, $900, $1,000, whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's just the way those are working. And
if I was the seller, I'd be really worried, because, obviously a lot of people aren't like this, but if I was the seller, I'd be so worried about, like, I've sold this on eBay for £900. I've got the money, and I've probably spent the money. And then mine arrives that I've got to fulfill this guy, and it's all battered. What am I going to tell this guy, Yeah, I've got it, but it came battered. I've got to... You can either have your money back, which I haven't got anymore because I've spent it back in May,
right?
Or I can send it to you battered. Like, it would worry the hell out of me. I couldn't do it.
No, and that's why I'm waiting. Right, when I get my 3 and they're piled up here behind me, then I'll sell 2. Right, and I'll know. Look, here's the condition that it's in. Here's, the box. It's untouched. It's fine. It's whatever.
And that's not scalping, because everyone had a chart. That's what I meant by I was annoyed by what people moaning like, oh, scalp. You can't scalp the HasLab. Everyone had the opportunity to buy it, and I understand that some people may not have been in a financial position at that point, and then they are. But unfortunately that's just the way that model works. It's annoying, but
right.
There was a whole month to get the money together to buy it.
Right.
Whoever is out there buying them for £900 is just crazy.
Right.
It's just crazy.
Well, and it is a business model. And look, I'm all for, and people know here because of the elf working conditions we have at the North Pole, and the grief I get over that. But Santa is a capitalist, right? So I am absolutely fine with people going out to Ollie's and buying every single figure that Ollie's has, and then going and putting them on eBay for a markup. Go for it. You could do that. Not great for collectors or just somebody who wants to get one for their kid, right? Not great for you, or you've got to be out there hustling with them. And they're doing it as a living. They're doing it like they're going out and finding things that are in demand. They're buying up the entire quantity of it. Much like our friend Martin, who has every Zuvio on the planet.
He does,
And so he's hoarding all the Zuvios, and when people want their Zuvio, they're going to have to pay Martin markup. It's going to. But we jest, but people are doing that with items that are in demand. And so these HasLab projects meet that, right? So they're buying 10 of them, 20 of them, however many. All right, they're investing because they plan on selling every single one of them. They're not collectors themselves. They're capitalists. They're people who are just trying to make a living on eBay.
Yeah, they're just speculating that it will be, yeah.
Right.
It's the same with comics and stuff. Like people, whenever it's like a comic that's got a debut character in it or whatever, they're buying it and they're getting it graded straight away. And then in 5 years' time, when Disney put that character in a live action show, that comic is suddenly worth loads. Like, good example is the Kanan series that came out 5 years ago. Some of those are very expensive now because they are the first comics to have the Rebels crew in them,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when Ezra and the Mandalorian girl from the Rebels, I can't remember her name, Sabine, isn't it? Sabine Wren.
Yeah.
When they become live action, it's just going to go crazy.
Well, when that Constable Zuvio live action show comes out on Disney Plus,
Yeah,
Martin's going to be beside himself.
yeah, he's waiting for that. Yeah,
And I haven't seen Martin in the chat, but I know that you were able to go to the Zoovium, right?
Yep.
You were able to take the tour of it. It's an absolutely brilliant tour. Like, you guys, I'm telling you, it's
He's got
a
some good
great
stuff.
time. It is so entertaining. You will laugh. You will be entertained. Martin does a great job. It's a real thing. It's actually a real place. And you can get an online tour of it. It's worth your time, my friends. It is. Tim has taken it as well. And it's worth it. So yeah, there's the Zuvio's peg warming and Kohl's in Jersey City. Mark, you mean you haven't bought them to send them over to Martin yet? Wait a second. I'm gonna have to let Martin know that you're holding out on him.
Is Mark visiting the States at the moment? Does he live?
Yeah, he's bi-coastal.
Yeah,
So he is living in Jersey now. So
right.
he's back
Cool.
and forth. So he's here in the States, and I hope to be headed over to Europe in spring. So we're going to maybe take a family vacation and hit Scotland, Ireland, the UK next spring. So I'll stay in touch. If we're coming over, we should
Yeah,
at least,
absolutely. Yeah, we good to see you. Yeah.
get a bite to eat or something. So hey, so it would be a crying shame if we have this discussion about the PulseCon and I didn't bring up blurks. Right, I've got to. It's at this point it's become a requirement. I'm absolutely dying to get some vintage collection Black Series blurgs. And look, I don't expect that they're going to announce them, especially not for order or pre-order. I would absolutely love if they gave us a pipeline.
Yeah.
Said, hey, here's some pipeline. So again, for anybody who doesn't know, Hasbro in recent months, they've been doing sort of two waves of reveals. They say, here are the items that are going to come up for pre-sale later today or tomorrow, right? And they reveal them, they show them on the screen. And then they say, here's some pipeline things. We don't even have a mock-up yet, right? All we've got is some artwork, and here are things that are going to come down the line. And then, 2, 3, 6 months later, they say, okay, now we've got this figure for pre-order. It's going to come out. So those are called pipeline items. They don't have a mock-up done or anything, but maybe they would pipeline a blurg. Is there any chance? Now, Martin isn't here, so you don't have to, make him happy. But what is any chance that they would pipeline a blurg for PulseCon?
I know that they know that it's a wanted thing.
Yeah, I know too.
I know
I've
that
heard.
Hasbro know that, so
yeah,
they know. I don't know. It's just it's such a complicated issue at the moment with retail and what gets made, how much things cost to make them, whether the big box retailers will take them. That seems to play a massive part in things, I think, which was one of the reasons why we haven't seen many vehicles, because I believe that, especially the bigger vehicles, that retail just don't want them on the shelves. They won't take them.
Well, Good
So
point. Let me bring this up for anybody that's come in lately. So I just got this X-wing or this Tie Fighter, right? I mentioned X-wing because I was thinking about the Target one that's out there, the Anton Merrick X-wing that nobody can get hold of. but yeah, here you've got a Tie Fighter that made it all the way to Ollie's for $10, and that's a bit of a loss leader there because
yeah,
$10 is quite a buy for a Tie Fighter of this scale, but. Yeah. So yeah, you don't see a lot of vehicles, and of course, then and something that not everybody's aware of is these creatures go into the vehicle kind of.
yeah,
That's how they're viewed.
yeah. And we've only ever had one creature before in the vintage collection. We've had the Tauntaun. That's it.
Well,
So that's not looking good for a historical look at it. But of course, in other lines we've had plenty of creatures. But in the vintage collection, just the Tauntaun. So,
well, the Tauntaun and you've got the HasLab project, the Black Series. We just talked about it.
the Rancor, yeah.
Rancor. There's been a Rancor as well.
Not in the vintage collection.
No?
No,
What-
that was in the Legacy collection in 2000.
Legacy.
And yeah, so before, yeah, so in those vintage style boxes, only the Tauntaun.
Okay, so only a Tauntaun.
Yeah.
I would love to get Blurg. Well, they've talked about maybe doing more HasLab projects at the smaller scales. Any chance? I mean, they typically only do one Star Wars thing a year, if even that, right? There's only been 2 HasLab projects to date. One being the sail barge, the other being the
Razor Crest.
Razor Crest. That's been it. We're getting third, and it's that Black Series, but that's a creature. Would they do a HasLab Blurg?
I think it's probably a bit too small for a HasLab. I mean, they've done the dewback in the 6-inch line before, so that would be
It's just
smaller than or bigger than a Blurg, I'd imagine. So they've done that before, and that came with a Sand Trooper. So that worries me a little bit because me being a 3 3/4 inch collector, I'd much prefer it that they do it in the thing.
well, I am aware that Hasbro knows the demand for blurgs, especially from collectors, yourself and me, and lots of others. Right, there are a lot of collectors who are itching to get their hands on blurgs, and the Mandalorian's only made that go up, and we saw it in Bad Batch. We saw blurgs there, different color blurgs. So, that's the problem, Mark. The brain is shutting down. Right, I'm crashing off of the caffeine that I had before. We're gonna have to wrap it up. So
I think we'll see the Navarro Cantina, which was a pipeline thing. I think we might see that at PulseCon.
Yeah,
we'll get to see what that actually looks like. And there's because we do know that that's going to be based on the final scene, so you're not expected to fill it with aliens and whatever. It's the main scene with Moff Gideon outside of all the stormtroopers, death troopers, and then inside the main characters sort of trying to escape or whatever. But that makes me wonder, I remember outside the stormtroopers had the E-Web cannon, didn't they? So it would be nice to get like a mini rig or something in the vintage collection, like the E-Web cannon, because they've done that previously in the Kenner line. So that's kind of where I want things to go, like just to expand it a little bit.
That'd be nice, because we did see that kind of thing at the end of Mandalorian season 1. You had IG-11 and Din jump on that cannon, right? So something like that would be great to get in a vintage collection line with that fantastic IG-11. Like, my mind's blown. I saw your review of it, and I'm like, I can't wait. I cannot wait to get hold of that. The problem for me is going to be giving it away, right? So I do these toy giveaways. I'm going to I don't want to give it away. I want to keep it. That's going to be the tough part. That is so. Look, you guys, if I put a link to Boss Bounty's YouTube channel, if you're not subscribed, shame on you. But secondly, you've got to go check out these two reviews, the IG-11 one, and you got to go check out Billy D. Williams in that soft cloak that he released yesterday. They're amazing, absolutely amazing, and that they're coming in this scale, the vintage collection scale. Hasbro, thank you. Right? If anybody from Hasbro or anybody with connections to Hasbro, thank you so much. They're fantastic figures. The detail is amazing. They're awesome for collectors, and hopefully we get more investment into the vintage collection line with these newer figures. And I know, like Mark Hamilton, Mark is desperate to get his hand on Rebels characters. They got completely missed. They fell in that gap between when Hasbro wasn't really giving us any vintage collection line.
No.
And Rebels released, and there was no interest or investment in vintage collection.
No.
And they're just now coming to some realization that the vintage collection collectors
They want this stuff, yeah.
the new line, right? They want Rebels figures. We want Mando figures. We want the Bad Batch figures, right? We want all of these, which is why we need blurgs, right?
Yeah.
I can't give it up. I can't give it up. They're more than just in those Ewok Adventures movies.
Yeah.
So there's something, and again, I know that they know. I know that they've got people listening, and they've had people come, and they've met with collectors. They've met with folks, and those people have told them as well. Blurg is missing from the line. So that's the 23rd and 24th. Any clue? I haven't heard yet. I don't know if you've heard when Star Wars figures are they going to be both days, one day, the other? Any idea what day we might get the Star Wars release?
I've got a feeling it'll be Friday.
23rd? I hope so. Or 22nd. 23rd.
Yeah. I've got a feeling it'll be the Friday, and I can't say too much.
Look, I respect that.
Why
I
I kind of know that.
I respect that.
I may be involved in some small way. So.
That would be great, Tim.
But
I'm going on vacation on Saturday the 23rd. I'm going to be driving, so I can't watch PulseCon on Saturday.
No.
So I am desperately hoping it's going to be on Friday. I'm desperately hoping.
Yeah.
And my friend Martin is going to join me. We're gonna cover the event, and so you can rest assured that Martin will be hazing me about blurs. I'll be. You guys. I just did a podcast with Martin that's going to get released next month, and it's hilarious. Martin is so funny. And if you've not taken the Zuvian tour, please go look for that. Hit us up on Discord. And I brought this up because we know that Ducky Momo, one of our members, one of our supporters, is going to he's going to head out to Ollie's in his area today. So he's going to go out there today, and he's going to post in our Discord. So if you've not joined Santa's Covert, come join our Discord. Ducky will be posting what he finds, if anything, right? Who knows? Maybe Ducky will find one of these TIE fighters for $10. And you could get a TIE fighter for $10. This is one of my friends here. I bought this for him. This is not mine. It's a gift. And I'll be sending it off to my friend here soon. But maybe you can get a TIE fighter for $10. Or you can get a Black Series figure. Something that maybe you would like to get. Join us on our Discord. Look for those posts, and Ducky will pick those up for you. So, and my friend Bossk, Tim, you've got your own Discord as well for people who are your Patreon supporters. So
Patreon and channel members, yeah, they get access to the private Discord, yeah.
That's right, and there's some great collectors there as well. So you guys go check out Tim's YouTube channel. If you can, support him as a Patreon or a channel member, get access to his Discord. And if you're looking for these kind of figures to collect, uh, you can talk with other collectors in that community. They're really helpful folks, and his toy reviews are things that I aspire to do. I aspire to get that good. I watch them and I try to learn. Tim, I thank you for your time. It, fantastic. This the Star Wars community, just fans of Star Wars, are such great people, and I'm so glad that I've been able to meet you, and I thank you for your time today.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me on and those kind words. But no, I appreciate it. So I'm always happy to talk Star Wars toys. You know that. So
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, we'll be kind of watching for maybe a little something something on the 23rd, 22nd.
yeah, yeah, I've
Yeah,
got I've got a feeling
we'll
it'll
be
be
watching.
Friday. I've got a
We'll
feeling
be
it'll be Friday. That's all I can say.
awesome, awesome. I'm excited for it, and you guys, thanks for hanging out with us today. I've had a lot of fun talking about this. If you have any questions, hit us up on Discord. You can ask me. You can ask Tim. You can ask me, and I'll ask Tim. Whatever the case may be, we'll be happy to share that out. You guys have a wonderful day, and until next time, my friends. Merry Christmas, and may the force be with you always. Bye bye.
Right.
All right. I learned.